Alright guys, so welcome to my next Q&A, and this time around it's going to be about mummies. I did one on Frankenstein, and yeah, for the next 2 months it's going to be more horror-centric or spooky-adjacent topics for Q&As. As always, if you'd like to have a Q&A be part of the next Q&A, which I will announce right here is going to be Ghostbusters. So if you want to be part of the Ghostbusters Q&A, just hit the link in the description box below, head on over to my Patreon, hit the first tier, that'll allow you access to do so, as well as check out my reviews of Alien Earth, and also movie reviews, things like that. But also, if you want that and the Patreon requests, as well as to see exclusive content from Patreon, hit the second tier. That'll allow you all that in the first tier, too. Yeah. So anyway, I want to thank everyone who sent in questions. Yeah, so let's get started with our first few questions that come from Tom Hibbert, who asked, if Yu-Gi-Oh! And the Mummy took place in the same universe, do you think Imhotep would be interested in the Millennium items, or do you think he would just want the Book of the Dead? I think it'd be a bit of both. Like, it would be kind of like that taco commercial. Why not both? That's what I feel like would be the case. Just to have, like, why not just, like, that's the thing, like, with most villain schemes I've always thought of, is like, why don't you just do both, like, why don't you just take both items to keep them away? Like, that was the thing with the Mummy, where I always thought about, I was like, yeah, Imhotep wants the Book of the Dead, but the Book of the Living is, like, his weakness. Wouldn't you want to guard that, and not, like, if you knew where it was? Yeah. So we'd probably take both. Second question. Do you consider the Brendan Fraser movie more of an action film than a horror film? Yeah, I will say the first movie does have... the first movie does definitely have more of a... is more action-oriented. But it also has elements of horror. Like it was very clear Scott Summer... or Stephen Summers. Is it Scott or Stephen Summer? But yeah, Stephen Sommers, I think it's Stephen, clearly wanted to have a lot of love and admiration for for what he was basing it off of. So there were, like, legit horror elements to it, but it is more of an action movie through and through. So yeah, I would say it's more in the camp of action than horror, especially the second one. The second and third ones are definitely more action oriented. Third question: is there a horror director you'd like to see tackle the Mummy? Well, I've always, after hearing about one of the things before the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies was that one of the major things with the Mummy films was that when they were looking for, like, a film director, Clive Barker was approached to do a remake of the Mummy before Stephen Sommer, and I would have loved to have seen Clive Barker's The Mummy. I would have killed to see that. God damn. Lousy chair. Anyway, as I was saying, Clive Barker would have been really good. But if I was to see, like, what horror director now, because Clive Barker's gotten on in years, he's kind of retiring from that. One person I would really like to see direct a few people I would like to see direct a Mummy film. I'm trying to think here, because I just had it. Robert Eggers, I know that's kind of a basic answer, but, like, Eggers, I would love to see him tackle, like, Egyptian architecture and things like that. So I would really love to see his take on how that would play out. I would also like to see... what's his name? I forgot his name. I don't want James Wan. That's too easy. I know I just said I just said Robert Eggers, but I think James Wan. I want to see his Creature from the Black Lagoon first. But if there was another director I would pick, maybe Steven Kostanski from Psycho Gorman and the Void. That'd be a solid one. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Tom. Moving on now to David Deister, whose first question is if there is a new Mummy ride at Epic Universe, what Mummy should it be and why? I don't think we need a Mummy. The only we already have a Mummy in Dark Universe. It's clearly Emotep, but a different version of Emotep. And besides, the ride at Universal Studios, the Revenge of the Mummy, it's peak. Like, genuinely, it is the most peak thing ever. And I will hear no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't think we need one. What we need is a Gillman ride. We do at Epic Universe. We don't need another Mummy ride. That's at Revenge. But if I was to say hypothetically, if there was to be a Mummy ride at Dark Universe, probably have it be Kares. Have it be Kares from the sequel Mummy films. Because Emotep only had one film, which was the Mummy, not counting the remakes, of course. But Kares was the Mummy going after with the Mummy's hand. So what was I saying? I would say do a ride around Kares. Anyway, second question. Best to worst Mummy movies. Oh, there's too many. I would say best Mummy movie is probably Brendan Fraser Mummy movie. Worst Mummy movie, probably American Mummy. That's one I've seen. There's so many like dime store Mummy movies. I would say that one. Anyway, third question: what would a Mummy, Indiana Jones, Doctor Strange crossover look like? Oh God, coming up with that right out the hand, like a crossover off the top of my head. It would probably be something along the lines of maybe have it that be like a two-parter where part one is like Indiana Jones goes to Hamunaptra and disturbs Emotep's rest and his adventure of escaping Emotep without trying to keep him sealed away. And the second half is like Doctor Strange being summoned to Egypt because like he's picking up where Indiana Jones left off to fight Emotep. That's the best I got right off the top of my head. Any of those questions, David? Moving on now to Bill McLaughlin, who asks, what are your thoughts on the Hammer Mummy movie with Sir Christopher Lee? I love it. I really do love and adore that film. I think it is absolutely awesome. It's really cool because you get to see like Kares Mummy. They basically do adapt the Emotep 1932 Mummy film, but use Kares, and Christopher Lee's imposing. I can only imagine how much shit he had to go through to wear that. Because if the Frankenstein costume he wore in Curse of Frankenstein is anything to go off of, that was probably really encumbersome, even more so. But the dude had physicality, and also like I do like the little bit of trivia. That basically what it had, like one thing that Peter Cushing wanted to do for the movie was that in the poster, because most of the posters they do before shooting the movie, had a light go through the mummy's chest. So what he did was actually he asked Terrence Fisher, hey, can we do this scene where I put a hole through the mummy so that way we don't have to make the poster a liar? And they're like, yeah, sure. So that's why we have him harpooning the mummy in the side. So that's what I like, stuff like that. It's up there. I love the the Technicolor of it. It's a solid of the Hammer Universal remakes. I like it should be up there with it should be talked about like Curse of Frankenstein and Horror of Dracula. Anyway, second question. Who have been your favorite actors to play the Mummy? Oh, who has been your favorite actor to play the Mummy? Well, of course, you can't go wrong with Boris Karloff. There's no way you can go wrong with Karloff. It really only comes... There's so many other actors, and I like Lon Chaney Jr., but God bless him, he tried his best, and he clearly did not have a good time doing it. So, and even he admits he never wanted to do the Mummy in the first place. They just made him do that. So it really only comes down to two really good ones, and I just mentioned Boris Karloff, but if you're just asking me, who's the best Mummy actor, it is Arnold Vosloo. It is 100% without a doubt Arnold Vosloo, without a shadow of a doubt. He is imposing, he's terrifying, and there's a bit of like charm to him too. It's almost like a James Bond villain, really. So I'm gonna say, I know, like, no disrespect to Karloff or Christopher Lee or what have you, I'd give this title to Vosloo. Anyway, third question. What was your initial reaction to the circumstances regarding the uncovering of King Tut's tomb and the curse of the pharaohs that followed? It's really fascinating because that basically generated a whole zeitgeist of fear and curses and things like that, when really, when you look at it from an outside point of view, from a certain point of view, one might say, from a certain point of view, what I would say is that it's more like a thing of circumstances and things like that. It's more like a, just a cavalcade of various circumstances and various, various forms of unfortunate luck. But you could say, if you were a superstitious lot, you could say maybe that was the curse. Maybe it was like a Final Destination thing. Who can say, right? Who are we to question such powers that be, right? So who knows? Thank you for those questions, Bill. Moving on to Cyborg 19.99, who asks, what Marvel characters or DC characters would you like to see have a history with the Mummy? I'd probably say for the Marvel side, I don't know. Yeah, I would probably say for the Mummy side, I'd probably go with, the Marvel side, maybe Ghost Rider, or Moon Knight. Actually, yeah, have it be like Moon Knight, have a history with them. And for DC, let it be Ra's al Ghul, just to change things up. Like, have it Ra's al Ghul was once went to ancient Egypt and encountered Imhotep or something like that. I don't know. And oh boy, this question again. What anime, cartoons, video games, and other movies would you like to see crossover with the Mummy? Anime. Maybe Lupin the Third. Like, have it be Lupin. Lupin is trying to steal from Imhotep's tomb. That would be something. So that's for anime. Cartoons, Gravity Falls. Video games, probably Uncharted. And another movie, we already talked about it, but I would say probably something along the lines of Indiana Jones. So those are my picks right there. Thank you for those questions, Cyborg. Moving on now to Alistair Bondman, who asks, as much as we all love the classic Egyptian mummy, do you think it's high time we got a mummy in the form of another culture? And if so, what kind of mummy and what kind of culture would you like to see it in? Yeah, we've really only had Tomb of the Dragon Emperor with Chinese mummies. I would like to see, Aztec mummies and deal with the Aztec gods. I think that would be really cool. I would really like to see, a lot of, mummification in South America. I think there's also mummification in India as well. So I would love to see that and kind of mix in those kind of fears and have it be kind of connected to those. I think it is high time we do that because, again, we've really only had Tomb of the Dragon Emperor really kind of talk about that kind of thing. So I would probably say it's if we were to get a mummy movie, it'd be kind of awesome if we got it if we get another good solid horror movie, a mummy movie. I'm not saying I want Lee Cronin's one to be different one because I'd like to be in Egypt with the Universal monsters, but maybe another studio can make their own claim on a mummy movie with a different mummy from a different culture. So, second question. In your idea for a Warhammer-esque Universal Monster tabletop war game, would you just pull from ancient Egypt like Tomb Kings for your mummy faction, or would you have it be mummy units in other cultures? And if so, what would these units be? I really I know I did this video as a fun idea of making a tabletop Universal Monster game, but I don't really have ideas for units, and a lot of, I said, the mummy would probably come a lot from a lot of what the mummy would be would probably come from the likes of what was I going to say? the Tomb Kings, like the Tomb Kings and Necrons. That's really what it was. But I would say like maybe have like references to the army of Anubis as like foot soldiers, like from the Mummy Returns. That'd be kind of cool. Like have Jackalmen foot soldiers as your basic foot infantry, close range. That's a loose idea. Third question. While we are all universally hate the Tom Cruise Mummy movie, I think we can all agree that Amunet was the best part of the movie. Would you be open to seeing her again? Yeah, I'd be open to seeing Amunet again. I think that she is one of the strong points, not just because Sophia Boutella is my movie crush. Did I say that out loud? Anyway, I think she is the best part of the movie. Like, all the makeup she had to do, she's intimidating, she's powerful, and Tom Cruise, whenever she's on screen, it's like, oh yeah, this is a mummy movie. Oh yeah, there's Tom Cruise right there. So therein lies the problem. Anyway, so I would dare say, I think she is the best part of that movie. But I like every time I try to watch the Mummy movie, like I have tried multiple times to watch the Mummy 2017 movie just to be like, I mean, there are good things, right? But then I think, no, too much Tom Cruise, and a failed shared universe. So, yep, there's the problem. But she is pretty good. She's the best part. Thank you for those questions, Alistair. Moving on now to Hunter Johnson, who asks, have you seen the Mummy animated series that was based off of the Brendan Fraser movies? Yeah, I have seen a few episodes. In fact, it turns out if you're ever at Revenge the Mummy, the ride at Universal Studios, they have a child area for like little kids, and if you need like to like keep you have a baby or a small toddler that can't go on the ride because of size or thinks the ride's too scary, what you can do is there's a little child wait area. And in there, because I was walking one night because it was like dark and you could see inside, the light was on inside, they basically are playing old episodes of the Mummy animated series. So yeah, I do remember watching it, but it was never on at a right time. I remember only seeing a few episodes. I do remember Jim Cummings doing the voice of Imhotep, which was kind of weird. But yeah, I have seen it. Second question. Thoughts on Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy? I think it is the worst of as much as I love the Abbott and Costello Meet movies, I definitely think it is arguably the worst of the Abbott and Costello. I genuinely think it is the worst of the Abbott and Costello Meet Monsters storyline. They're tired. The mummy looks awful. The jokes are just bad. It's not a good film. It's very clear no one wanted to do this. It's very obvious. Absolutely no one wanted to do this movie in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. So I just hate this movie. I watched it once and I was like, there's nothing good here. Like, I can find good things in Abbott and Costello Meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and of course, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein as the goat. But here, there is nothing here that makes me want to come back to this movie. Thank you for those questions, Hunter. Moving on now to Mount Vernon Kid, who says, ready for the upcoming Mummy comic. Yes, I am. I know it's already collected in... I know it's already done, but I'm waiting for trade. So far, 2 out of 3 of the Universal Monster comics have been really solid. Dracula by James Tynion was really awesome. Then we had Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives, and it was really a mess. But then it bounced back with Frankenstein. I am really interested in the Mummy because it is taking a type of detour that I was not expecting in terms of continuity. I was not expecting where they're going with this, of kind of making it like a prequel story to the Mummy, where we're following Helen. I think that's her name, Helen, the main actress from the main character that Imhotep wants from the original film. Because remember, these are the original Universal monsters, so this isn't like the Fraser movies. This is the original Boris Karloff Frankenstein. So and it's going to talk about her past lives and how that affects her mentally. So that's going to be cool. I'm very interested in it. And Jude Faith, has never done a horror comic, so I'm very curious to see what she can do with a horror comic. So I am waiting for that for trade. It is coming out in November. I can't wait. And also, I can't wait for when James Tynion's Invisible Man gets collected in trade. Just saying. Anyway, second question. Unlike the other Universal monsters, The Mummy never got a true sequel. Oh, sure, there were other Mummy movies throughout the 40s, into the 50s, but do you wish there was a real sequel? Yeah, I always found that funny that like the Boris Karloff Mummy film never was just a standalone film, and then they did kind of a remake and just followed with a different Mummy film and Mummy character altogether. I kind of wished we got a full sequel, but I don't know if Karloff could get through Jack Pierce's work again. I really do not think he would have been able to, hold it all together still. So, yeah, I don't know if he could actually do it, but I would have loved to have seen a sequel with the character, which it sucks that. But I will say that at least they did. At least it stayed like solid and untouched by a sequel. I know like Bride of Frankenstein is the GOAT when it comes to sequels, but then you had like Dracula's Daughter and other sequels in the Universal Monster franchises that really went downhill. So maybe it's best it does stay untouched. Give us your thoughts on the last Mummy movie that failed so hard. And I'm talking Tom Cruise, not Mummy 3. Yep, like I just said, that movie is awful. I'm going to answer this question because he's asking not about just Ahmanet. He's asking about the movie as a whole. That movie was garbage and I will hand it to this. I have never seen a movie kill a franchise so hard. I have never seen a franchise get killed right out the gate so fast as Dark Universe was, thanks to Tom Cruise's meddling. So there's something to be said about that. Ahmanet is really cool, but it's a terrible movie around her, and it just kills any kind of interest there. But yeah, the movie is it's just the fucking worst, Chris. It is honestly a awful, awful movie. Yeah, so thank you for those questions, Chris. Moving on now to Gluzman, who asks, do you think the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies could be developed into the Universal Shared Monster Universe? They kind of hint at it with showing the Book of the Dead in the 2017 movie, and I think it could have worked, but the actors are too old, and I think it's just kind of good to stay as is, if I'm being honest. So that's just kind of my thoughts on the matter, is just kind of like, maybe we just leave it alone. Maybe some hints there and there, but yeah. Second question. We can all agree that Ardeth Bay is one of our favorite characters in the movie. Yeah, we can all agree that. We can all agree that Ardeth Bay is an awesome character. He's also my mom's movie crush. Like he's the only reason she will watch The Mummy with me. Like that's the only reason she will watch The Mummy with me, is so she could see him. Yeah. Third question. What is your favorite lines from any of the Mummy movies? 1999, 1932, 1959. I would dare say that I would probably say that like my favorite of like if I was to pick one, what would be? I always like Death is only the beginning. That's all. I know it's a basic one, but I do enjoy Death is only the beginning, and I also like, hey, O'Connell, looks like I got all the horses. Hey, Benny, looks to me like you're on the wrong side of the river. There you go. I also do like, again, the opening scene of the Karloff movie. I've talked about this before, where in the Boris Karloff movie, like the opening scene where like the guy just starts breaking down in laughter after seeing the mummy walk away with the scroll, and he's like, he went for a little walk. That just creeps me out to this day. So yeah, there you go. So think of those questions, Gluzman. Moving on to Gordon Rajani, who asks, do you think we need more mummy movies featuring the mummies from other cultures? Yeah, I answered this question already, so sorry, man. I gotta skip this one. I know you're familiar with the second question. I know you're familiar with the show Mummies Alive. Do you have any favorite episodes from it? I do like the episodes where they show the other gods. I always liked when, they always showed another episode featuring the gods, or they Yeah, those were whenever the gods showed up, either as antagonists or allies. I always enjoyed that. So those are those are some of my favorites. Like the show on a whole, Mummies Alive is stupid, but it's like fun stupid. Um, what else was I gonna say? Yeah, so it's just it's a fun one. Uh, Third question: how do you think they could do a new Mummy movie these days? I would probably say do something along the lines of like a Mummy film that is. I'd probably say something along the lines of like make it more enclosed horror, like more um, like an enclosed kind of horror, like a little more claustrophobic, like have it be in the temple. A movie called The Pyramid had the right idea, just a horrible execution on the matter. So I would say more enclosed horror, and I like when mummies are bandages and all, but like make it scary. So there you go, guys. That's pretty much the Mummy Q&A. I want to thank everyone who sent in questions, and like I said, if you'd like to be part of the Ghostbusters Q&A, as well as check for future Q&As, polls that affect videos here on Patreon, as well as videos that affect videos here on YouTube, as well as here on over there on Patreon, just hit the link in the description box below. Head on over to my Patreon, hit the first tier. That'll allow you access to do so. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.